Today we're relaxing by the lake with Kelly, a QHS admin whose life journey is as refreshing and inspiring as a day spent by the water. But what currents guided her to where she is today? Let's take a peaceful stroll through her story and see what's been happening behind the scenes.
Let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. I would suppose that my parents were mostly happily married, other than the normal problems that all couples go through. But I don't remember ever seeing or hearing them argue. They were always a united team and always treated each other with the utmost respect and admiration. And I truly appreciated that in them. I have two older sisters, one of whom I've lived with for almost 20 years now. And for the past 2.5 years, our mother has moved with us cross country. My other eldest sister is married with 2 children and still lives back east. I remember always feeling happy and loved, regardless of how many family squabbles we may have had. Growing up and seeing the dynamics of my friends' families, I recognized that what I had was something truly special. And unfortunately, that wasn't always the case for other people. And I realized that my family, no matter how dysfunctional we might be otherwise, we shared a love that was something to be treasured and nurtured. One of my earliest memories is of lying on my father's chest when I was about 2 years old and looking in the other direction and seeing my mom in the other room and just feeling so loved and safe and protected. And I was definitely daddy's little girl. Our inside joke was that he and my mother stopped having children when they achieved perfection. Sadly, my father passed away in 2017 of sudden cardiac arrest. And it was really, really hard for me. But I, eventually came to terms with it, and I feel his presence every day. I was a really, really happy child. I was carefree and just full of joy. I laughed all the time. Sometimes so hard that my teachers were afraid that I had stopped breathing because I would turn all red in the face and my shoulders would just be going up and down and they couldn't see any air moving. Whatever. And I just loved to laugh and be silly. Today, I likely would have been diagnosed with something like ADHD or something because I had zero impulse control as a child. If I had the urge to get up and do cartwheels, well, I'd get up and do cartwheels down the aisle of desks at school, even if I was in a skirt. Moreover, I just couldn't stop myself from talking to my classmates. So between my physical and verbal outbursts, I spent a lot of time in the principal's office. In fact, I even had my own desk there. They gave me a dictionary, and as a punishment, I had to copy words and invent sentences to go with them. By the time I left my Catholic grammar school after 6th grade, I had made it all the way up to the S's. And because I was labeled as a troublemaker, I was bullied by my classmates. But I wasn't really misbehaving. I was just immensely bored. They couldn't even answer my questions. And over time, I've come to realize that they were just unable to satisfy my need to know more about everything. I naturally pick things up quickly, and I need constant stimulation, or I will provide my own. At any rate, in public school, just like every other preteen and teenager, I felt like I didn't fit in. But looking back, I was actually pretty popular. I was involved in cheerleading and volleyball. I did school plays. And I think I was in just about every single extracurricular club and activity and group that the school offered. I took dancing lessons for about 12 years, starting when I was 2 or 3 years old. I can't remember. It was really great for me though, because I loved music and I just wanted to always be having fun and being silly, be silly all the time. And at that age, I had such a stage presence because I had no fear whatsoever of being out there in front of people. I just wanted to jump and play and live life to the fullest and sing and dance. And all of that just made me feel happy and free. I remember in the 4th grade play of The Sound of Music, I played one of the nuns, and my habit came off during the song Maria, leaving me looking like a rabbi instead of a nun, when all that was left on my head was my wig cap. But I didn't care. I just sang and danced my little heart out while the audience laughed, and my fellow classmates, who were, my fellow actors, stood there and gaped at me. And I was just the hit of the show. I loved it. I also grew up as a water baby. My parents could never get me out of the water, whether it was to eat, drink, apply sunscreen, or when it was time to leave at the end of the day. They used to say I was their real life mermaid or dolphin or whatever. I can't remember. I had all these nicknames. But, even with all the happy memories, of course, there were some not so happy memories, The trouble for my family began when I was about 10 years old, around the same time. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and my father lost his job at the local oil refinery when another company bought out the one he had been working for almost 20 years. And he decided that it was his chance to try and make it big as an entrepreneur. He ended up getting involved in all kinds of scams and multi-level marketing schemes and all kinds of stuff, and ended up blowing all of our family savings, and we ended up in financial ruin. My mom, having grown up in the 40s and 50s, the eras when you were raised to believe that your husband was the one to make all the financial decisions and that he would provide one way or another for the family. So, she didn't object to him trying to make it on his own. In fact, she supported him. She went out and she got a job at a local delicatessen up the street, working for $4 an hour under the table, no benefits, no insurance, nothing, for about 14 hours a day, just to feed us. My sisters and I, we did our best to help out however we could, but we were still pretty young. We got paper routes and took babysitting jobs. I remember scrubbing our neighbors' floors and windows, raking up leaves, shoveling snow. Whatever we could do to earn a few bucks to help out until we were old enough to get real jobs. I remember lying in bed at night and wondering if that would be the last night that I had a bed to sleep in. Sometimes the only food I got the whole day was lunch at school because we qualified for the free lunch program. And I remember my oldest sister taking her hard-earned waitressing money to buy my sister and I new clothes for school because we had grown so much that year that our pants were too small and our clothes just didn't fit anymore, and she didn't want us to be made fun of. Since I was the youngest, this probably hit me the hardest. I had to grow up really fast, and I knew that I had to become serious about what I was going to do for an income when I graduated from high school. I realized the mistakes that my mother had made in putting her faith in someone else to take care of her. And I vowed to myself to always be self-sufficient. I had to let the carefree airhead Kelly go and become something new. Someone that other people would take seriously and listen to when I spoke, instead of just laughing me off as a goofball. I was smart, not in your conventional way that you would think of, kids in school being smart. I was really creative, and that was sort of where I excelled in things that I could pour my creative passions into. But there was also a book smart side of me, and I had to tap into that. And what was more important was that I knew that my destiny was in my hands. I always knew that I came here to help people. I very distinctly remember just knowing deep down inside that I wasn't here to have the stereotypical normal life, where you get married and have kids, and, have the typical house and yard and, whatever, right? I knew that I was here for a very specific mission to help others. And that when my life's work was accomplished, that I would go back. Well, at that age, I had no idea what any of that meant or where I was even getting those feelings, those thoughts and feelings from, right? I just knew them to be true for myself. But I know what they mean now. As I got older, I thought that stepping in and taking care of my family financially and becoming a nurse was what I needed to do to fulfill that mission, right? Because it felt right. I was helping people. At first, I was helping my family, and then I was helping all of my patients, right? So initially, that felt right. That felt like where I was supposed to be. But now, I know that those were merely just stepping stones on the path that I was truly meant to follow. I had really important lessons and skills that I needed to learn and experience to get me to where I am right now, so that I could recognize the importance of what I'm doing right here, right now. And to that point, one of the things that I needed to learn was to love and accept myself. When you're different and adults, those people who are supposed to be in the know and, all enlightened and stuff, right? When they tell you that you'll never amount to anything in life and you stick out like a sore thumb, well, you begin to dim your own light and you try to blend into the background so that no one makes fun of you or even notices that you were there to begin with. You try to be someone or something that you're not because you think that you're not good enough for anyone else to love. I had to stop caring what other people thought about me, and over time and practice making perfect, I gained confidence in myself, and I began to realize that I could never just be normal or average or a follower. Even with this video, initially I had to do something different from everyone else, and I had to do it my own way because I had to be different. And so it took me forever to do this, right? Because of course, the first one that I sent in, I was like, no, it's too different. It's not going to match the format that everybody else had. And so I had to get over that, right? And just do it, right? But I excel because I expect more of myself and I push myself to reach higher and higher in goals. I'm a leader, a way shower, an advocate for change. A long time ago, someone asked me why I can't just follow rules and do what everyone else does, why I need to be different or special. And my only answer for that then and now is that I'm only in competition with myself. If you or anyone else are intimidated by my successes, that says more about you than it does me. I lead others by example. If I can do something amazing with even a modicum of extra effort, imagine what you or anyone else could do if you focused all of your time, energy, and intention into such an endeavor. The God spark that we're talking about all the time, that's what I mean right here, right? Where your intention and your energy goes, that's what flourishes. And because I'm willing to take risks and to go the extra 10 miles and to question literally everything, I found myself on the path to being able to fulfill my real soul mission. This, QHS, is my mission. This is why I'm here on Earth right now. What we're doing here in QHS is the most important thing there is. We're about to change the world for the better in so many, many, many ways. If I have been a master healer in all of my past lives, such as I've been told multiple times at this point, then it makes sense that I found my way here, or rather, that the universe directed me here, as that's what I believe to be the case. Because the goal of any healer is to heal people, right? And that's what we're about to do. Like anyone else, I have little things that I would love to be fixed or tightened or released from my body. For example, I've never been what you would call thin, even in my college volleyball heyday, right? So I fully expect to experience that in the future. I also have chronic low back and abdominal pain and a 20+ year long history of right shoulder dislocations, surgeries, and pain. I have what I call pterodactyl feet because I have the worst bunions I've ever seen in my whole life. And that's with decades worth of nursing. But, I'm still in my mid-40s and in relatively good health overall, So for me, this is more about helping my friends and my family and all of humanity than it is about healing my own maladies, such as they may be. I don't know what all of the future holds for me, but it's so exciting and I cannot wait to find out. Thanks for listening.
Join us on the Prequel, where every story matters and every voice is heard. Because here at QHS, we're all about healing, learning, and growing together.